Okay. Should be live. See how this goes. Cool. Checking to make sure it's working. Appears to be. Okay. So today I want to talk about gravity. And what it is and what its cause is, because it's often treated the wrong way in physics, I think. So, in physics, you have four fundamental forces, and the four forces are the strong force, the weak force, gravity, and electromagnetism. Okay? And electromagnetism is responsible for gravity and magnetism. It's not phrase that. Electromagnetism is responsible for electricity and magnetism, obviously. The strong force is responsible for it is the force that holds the nucleus of an atom together. And then you have the weak force, which is responsible for atomic decay. And so, what is gravity then? Gravity is this much weaker force that, just like binds everything, apparently. Makes everything kind of stick together according to, our common interpretation. But it's much more interesting than that. And, years ago, I asked myself a question. I asked if there was direct evidence of God's actions in the world, where would it be? And I looked at the most primary kinetic action in the universe, which is the drawing together of matter into, basically clumps that are so dense that they start igniting into stars. And then those stars go on to have nuclear fusion, and then they explode. And that produces atoms of various elements. Depending on how strong that explosion is, will produce varying amounts of heavier and heavier elements. And so I basically realized that I thought that gravity was direct action by God. And if that's the case, then it means that gravity is the love of God, essentially. It's God's actions animating the universe. And so, ran with this idea, and it worked because I had come up with this other phrase earlier that said, love is the gravity of consciousness. And if that's the case, then the idea that gravity is the love of the universe makes a lot of sense, because it's just a reversal, And it's a symmetrical explanation. So what does that really mean, though? Like, physically, what does that mean? And what it means is that God is spinning, okay? Where the universe is spinning around. This spin is what gravity is. It is the spin of the universe that varies in speed, essentially, speed. And this produces stronger or weaker instances of gravity. And so, if you think about, like, a rock in the middle of a stream, and when water goes by that rock, it speeds up, right? And that's it's that as water goes by this rock, it speeds up, But to the rock, essentially, it's like it's slowed down because as it's looking out, it sees everything speed up. So really, it looks like it's slowed down. This is kind of what's happening with gravity, but it's in a vortex. It's not in a stream, and so I wanted to take this a bit further and see what gravity really is in comparison to the other three fundamental forces. Okay, so we're gonna examine this. So we'll go fundamental forces. And what's interesting is that a theory of everything is supposed to unite the fundamental forces. So you have here gravity. And you have the say the strong force, electromagnetism. I think I spelled that wrong. Let's check. Yep, I did. Per usual. And then you have the weak force. And so these correspond to the four primary perspectives, which are right here. Oneness, inside, separate, and outside, or oneness, inside, outside, separate. Inside, outside, separate, oneness, whatever order you want to say them. But I think that this is the way that they should be, essentially. But maybe it should be, this should be outside. And this should be separate. Because it's decay, separating, falling apart. By the way, hit the like button. And really helps with the algorithm now that we're being definitely throttled. Algorithm. I don't know how to pronounce algorithm. What's up, Jambi? Good to have you here. So, here you go. And we can start to understand the relationships between these forces by looking at the definitions between the four forces. So if we go to something like this, where's the primary perspectives? Four primary perspectives. Right here. So we're going to go, one of those is, let's just go here. Right? Cool. Now we need oneness. First we'll go here, then we'll delete, then we'll go here, and then we'll go there. And then separate there. Outside is there, and inside is there. And then, sorry, my dogs are barking. I don't know why. Primary definitions. They'll stop. Is that it? Okay, yeah, I think so. Okay. Yes, you can share a theory, Jambi. We can talk about it. You can also join the Discord if you send me a private message on Instagram, and I can give you the Discord link, and you can talk to us about it tomorrow in live phone call if you want to do that too. It's up to you. This looks like Excel. It is Excel. I do everything in Excel. There's so much that I do in Excel. Everything is done in Excel. I feel like there's somebody outside. But that's all right. So if oneness, oh my gosh, what is going on? Pause a moment. Hey, relax. It's the mailman. Chill. My dogs are barking at the mailman. Isn't that common? Okay, so here we go. But gravity, that means gravity is all of these combined. Okay? It's not one of the four fundamental forces. It's that gravity is the summation of these three forces when looked at from the outside. So what's happening is this. When you have a quantum, okay, like a ball, a consciousness, when you are looking at that consciousness from the outside, what you see is oneness. But what happens is that oneness of an experience or dimension of experience. So if you're looking at a dimension of experience for someone else, and you're like, that guy down the street is experiencing time, okay? He's experiencing time. But he, in his head, isn't just like, I am experiencing time. He is experiencing thinking about the future, living in the present, and remembering the past, okay? When you're looking at somebody from the outside, and this is weird because, like, you have to get rid of space in this, but you're like, that person is experiencing space. They are like, I am experiencing where I want to go, where I currently am, and where I already was. Okay? So what's happening is that you experience this triality. This triality is always 2 degrees of freedom plus 1 intrinsic constraint. And the extrinsic perspective of the totality of that triality of experience is oneness. Okay? So time, if you were to say, what's the 4 fundamental dimensions of time? You wouldn't say it's time and then past, and then present, and then future. You'd be like, past, present, future. And it's 2 degrees of freedom plus an intrinsic constraint of one thing that is time. So what it is that you have 2 degrees of freedom plus an intrinsic constraint within the totality that is oneness. And so for gravity, what this is this. So you have, this is 1 degree of freedom. Degree of freedom number 1. Then you have here degree of freedom number 2. And then you have here the intrinsic constraint. And then you have here the totality being experience. Or we could say this is the realm of experience. But it's the force of experience, which is, it's the animating force. Okay? Gravity is the animating force of the universe. So, gravity equals animating force of universe, or of matter. We can even go like this. You can also say gravity equals the love of the universe, literally. And then you can be like, love is equal to the gravity of consciousness. And you can tell that's true. It's intrinsic. So you can look at this one, you're like, gravity is the love of the universe? That's so stupid. But then I say love is the gravity of consciousness, and you're like, hey, that makes a lot of sense. Well, reverse it. See what happens. Okay? Does that make sense? Jambi, were you going to share a theory? Maybe tomorrow? Maybe Excel was a theory. But feel free to share if you come back. But this is, you can also do this. This is all different ways to help understand what gravity is. It is spin of the universe. That's what it is. These are Maxwell's equations that I was looking at, because I'm trying to figure out how this works and fits together with gravity according to my definitions. So let's go here. Actually, let's just go here. Okay. There we go. So if we go to Maxwell's equations, let's just type in gravity. Let's see what they have to say about it. Gravity, also called gravitation in mechanics, is the universal force of attraction acting between all matter. Sounds like the love of the universe. Fascinating. It's amazing how well that like just hits the nail on the head. Dang. Okay. This is the textbook definition. This is kind of mine. That's funny. It's so close. It's just, you know, our materialistic worldview would be like, no. But I'm not even anti-materialism. I just think we don't realize that consciousness and matter are two sides of one coin. You're just, you can't be not a materialist and also just be a consciousness person. You have to be a materialistic consciousness person. Like to be, oh, I'm not a materialist. Or, hey, I don't believe in woo consciousness. It's all consciousness. I'm not a pantheist or whatever it's called. Psychism. I'm not a panpsychist. It's like you have to be a materialist and a panpsychist. So, be like heads, tails. Materialism. Pan. Psychism, I think. There. The problem is that we're letting materialism be the heads. And we need materialism to be the tails instead of the heads. Panpsychism needs to be the heads. Theism. What's the other side of the coin of theism? Probably deism. Interesting. Well, so gravity. On Earth, all bodies have a weight, or downward force of gravity proportional to their mass, which Earth's mass exerts on them. Gravity is measured by the acceleration that it gives to freely falling objects. You know, what would be awesome is to do an animation of a hop vibration, of a bunch of hop vibrations, and they're all connected by strings, and they're spinning in towards each other, like more and more and more and more and more, instead of this like idea that it's like you think about Earth and how we're just like being pushed down on it, but then when you take this into account of spin, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because spin, we think the Earth is like going like this, but it's not. It's really that it's spin in and spin out of consciousness. So it's spinning, consciousness is spinning outwards towards God from us, and God is spinning inwards towards us from himself, and therefore it's like pushing everything together. And instead of this idea that like Earth is this material place that actually exists and it's like spinning around, that's not real, actually. That's like what is generated by this perspective that I'm talking about, that would be much more helpful, much more useful if you wanted to like travel through beyond light speed. But I don't know how much that's a good idea either. It might be a bad idea to travel light speed. Or beyond light speed. And I say beyond, I don't mean faster than. I mean like beyond. Like you're just like, it's not even a constraint to overcome anymore. It's just like you're outside the constraints of it. Why is gravity 9.8 on Earth? Two objects pull towards each other. Like love. You know? Think about you and someone else that you love. They pull towards you. You pull towards them. The more massive the object is, the stronger its gravitational pull is. Gravity is what holds the planets in orbit and the sun. And yeah, kind of. Why gravity is not like the other forces. Quantum magazine. At least they're realizing it's not like the other forces. It is oneness. So gravity is inside and outside of the weak force. So you could literally say this. Wow, this is actually going to be fascinating. inside and outside of the weak force, because that is separateness. Strong force is the weak force and gravity. Electromagnetism then is separate and okay, so this would be weak force from weak force from gravity. You could say decay. Decay from gravity. Weak force. Weak from gravity. Weak and gravity. And then weak force would be inside or outside. So it'd be electromagnetism weak or wait, no, it would be strong or electromagnetism. Of gravity. This is tough. This would be gravity would be electromagnetism and strong of weak force. Dang. Okay. Try wrapping your head around that. I can't right now. I'm gonna have to try later. But that's very difficult. This is like one of those things you figure out late at night. But it's a start. Dang. That is tough. So gravity is electromagnetism and the strong of weak force. The strong force of weak force. That doesn't make sense. I mean, it might when you really extrapolate it out, but this is that stuff that you're gonna have to write in like logic, the language of logic, or like math, because it's too complicated for words almost. Now, strong force would be weak and gravity. Electromagnetism would be weak from gravity. Those kind of make sense. Weak force, strong or electromagnetism of gravity. It almost is like you can't really define these two. They're almost like the same thing. It's like gravity is spin in. Okay, actually, wow. Okay, I just got an idea. Make more sense of this. Spin in. This one would be spin out. Makes sense. Then the strong force would be weak and gravity. And then electromagnetism would be the weak from gravity. So it would be decay of gravity. And then weak would be decay and growth. Decay of growth. We'll leave it at that. Decay of gravity for now. It's going somewhere though. Huh. Okay, so then we have these. These are the Maxwell equations. These four, I think. So let's take a look at these. Let's see what we can do. Gravity breeds singularities. Oh, sounds like love. You know what else breeds singularities? Love breeds sentient singularities. Fascinating. Fascinating. Gravity breeds singularities. What a choice of words. Quanta is a great website, by the way. I highly suggest following Quanta on social media. The brain doesn't think the way you think it does. How big can the quantum world be? Like, this is a great website. But gravity breeds singularities? Sentient singularities breed sentient singularities through love. Like I said, gravity is the love of the universe. Love is the gravity of consciousness. And it breeds sentient singularities, literally. Love is an action, it's not a feeling. You can feel loved, but loved is an action. To be loved. It doesn't mean somebody feels for you, it means somebody does nice things for you that grow you or are good for you. That is love. To love someone, to do good things for them. Love as a feeling has really destroyed our ability to actually do it. Okay. So FG M1 M2 F G M1 M2, and then we have R R. Distance between centers of the mass Okay. Cool. Why is gravity not a force? In general relativity, gravity is not a force between masses. Instead, gravity is an effect of warping of space and time in the presence of masses. Okay? Without a force acting upon it, an object will move in a straight line. This explains why all objects fall at the same rate. Yes. It's not a force. Between masses. It's a force of masses. Understand? If that makes sense. These are the forces between masses. Or within masses. It's a better way of putting it. Within masses. This is the force of mass. So you could say this. Force but this would be probably force within masses. Force of mass. Force between masses. And then this one is also force between masses. Force of mass. Force of a mass, almost. Or force of mass. That's fine. Force between masses. Force between masses. Force within mass. That's pretty good. Definitely like getting to a place of understanding the relationships between these three. And I think the time is a great way to like really see what's going on. So if you would say, if you wanted to see what these are, you would say this is future, this is the past, this is the present, and then this is time. This is a good way of visualizing it. Here, let's do this. Maybe 200. Oh, let's do 400. Can we do 400? Oh my god. My dogs. Sorry, guys. It's fine. No, they'll stop screaming about whatever they're screaming about. Probably the mailman. Let's go to like 222. Four hundred. And then that would mean that this would, trying to make this a square, would go to 200. There we go. There we go. Let's make this darker. Here. Go here. 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 We can make it like that. All right. Cool. Actually, there we go. Cool. They answered yes. My dogs? Yeah, probably. Just send this to myself. Okay. Cool. I think that that's a square. Yes, it is. Good. The echo of magnetism. Fascinating. Like, what would be the echo of magnetism? Be like the weak force? Maybe. I think you would see like this would be echo. Echo of electromagnetism. And would be this one, the weak force. And then this would be the strong force would be the echo of gravity, I think. I know I spelled. My Excel is freaking out, so that's why it's kind of like making all these mistakes. Okay. Electro. Oh, wow. Did I mess that up when I sent it to myself? Yes, I did. Of course. Just double check this spelling because I suck at spelling. Nope, still wrong. Hopefully this fixes it. Okay. Okay. There we go. Yep, I left the L out and did a bunch of other things. Okay. Then this one would be the echo of gravity. This one would not. Maybe. I don't know. This one would be the echo of gravity. This one would be the echo of electromagnetism. Or the reverse. Either this would be electromagnetism is the echo of the weak force. But I think what it would be is this one is the echo of the strong force. And then this would be like not really, but echo of the weak force. Kind of like that. Is gravity the counterspace 0 point in a torus field? Yes, in a way, yeah. And electromagnetism, the force energy around the counterspace. Yes, in a way, but it's some is spin out and some is spin in, so we kind of went over it over here. So spin out would be the weak force, and spin in would be gravity. And then this is kind of, we're working on, I think that's what it is. But then we're working on strong force and electromagnetism. Is it like all counter space 0 points are the same, so they try to combine? So the electromagnetism is what shields it from itself, keeps it each separate. I don't know. That's a fascinating idea. Milan. I don't know. I need to think about it. I mean, I have separate here as the weak force, but that's separating versus separate, which is like the strong force would be combination and electromagnetism would be separation. So yeah, actually I think that you're right. So you could do, it's a good idea. Barrier, you could say. It's like this is combining thing. I don't know if that's how you spell it. Let's see. Yeah, it is. Good. And then this is separating. Separating. or barrier. I don't know if that's how you spell that either. Yeah, it is. Wow. On a roll. Combining and merger. Essentially. I like that. The weak force is, I guess, let's go like this. Merger. This is separating. This is growing. Like that. That's pretty good. Integration. That's a good one. Good. Instead of merger. You guys are on a roll. I don't know where you guys found this stream. I don't think I've ever seen you guys on here, but thanks for participating. This has been very cool. I get off at, sometime before 8:30, but so we have some time, but thank you guys for joining today. Some good ideas. Yeah, integration. That's very good. Barrier. What's another word for barrier? Barrier. Limitation. Maybe that. Integration, limitation, separation. Separation. Growing. Growth. That's good. That's really good. I think. I don't think it needs to be a shun word. Asymptote. I forgot what that means, even. Perforced moon. I don't know what that means. A line that continuously approaches a given curve but does not. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah. But does not meet it at any finite distance. Yeah, I know exactly what that is. I don't know why I forgot that. Yep, it's like when there's moving towards a line, you go halfway there, halfway there, halfway there, halfway there, halfway there, halfway there. You just never touch. I have a whole video about it called God is an Irrational Number. It's on my channel. It's one of the first videos on this channel. But it discusses that concept. But I don't call it an asymptote because I forgot what it was called. But I just talk about how God is an irrational number. And some of the concepts that I say in that video is years and years old. Like it's not as old as when it went up. It's much, much older. It was originally put up on my other channel and then it was deleted. So some of those ideas in that video are considerably more advanced now than they were then, but it's still a good video. Yep. Okay. By the way, comment in the chat how you found this channel, or down below in the comments how you found this channel. And probably down in the comments might even be a little bit better, but I do like to see it in the chat. Both would be ideal, actually, just so I can see it and so that other people can see it. But I am just curious how, if you're listening to this, you found this channel. It's good for me to know, you know, what that stream is, how you get here. But yeah, this was great. Growth, integration, limitation, separation. You'd have to then relate it to Maxwell's equations. Dang, that looks like my cosmic macrame, as Brian Keating calls it. This calculative verse. You know what's fascinating? Look at this. So I discussed before, like, the first questions. And so you go, what is the first question? The answer is, what is the first question? Then the answer to that one is, what is the truest thing that I know? And then the third one is, I am. And if you go, this would be oneness. 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 Separateness. Let's just do inside, outside. Dang. Wow, that's fascinating. These are objectively the four first. This is the sequence of the four questions and essentially answers. So this would be answer 3. Question 1. This would just be answer 3. There is no question 3 or question 4. But it's question 1. What is the truest thing that I know? Or what is the first question? Whoa, I think we just had an earthquake. That's cool. Yeah, we totally just had an earthquake, I think. I live in Los Angeles, so this is not that abnormal, by the way. They're very small usually. Every now and then they're like pretty intense, but only happened to me maybe like 3 times where I had an earthquake that actually scared me. Other than that, they're just like the ground kind of wobbles. Robert Edward Grant. Okay, and Joseph links and so on. Okay, yeah. Robert Grant and Will Ayer, I think, or Will. I'm not sure his last name. Need to double check, but they're great. I'm a big fan of their work, both of them. I speak to them at both every now and then, but especially Robert Grant. But he does great work. Whoa, the ground is moving a bit. Either someone drove in and it's shaking this area because it's a huge car or something, or there is a earthquake via rabbit holes. Oh yeah, everybody arrives here via rabbit holes, so that's true. Okay, so oneness, separateness, inside and outside. I hope to have Robert Grant on the stream one day soon. I know we were supposed to make that happen at some point, and I still plan on doing that. But we both are, I mean, I'm sure, especially him, very busy, and so we keeps getting distracted. Both of us, I think. But that is a plan of mine, and his, at least, to one day make that happen. But okay, so what is the first question? The answer to that is what is the first question? Then it's what is the truest thing that I know, which is inside. And then I am. But then if you do this and you go gravity, weak force, electromagnetism, or wait, no, strong force, electromagnetism, electromagnetism. There you go. Interesting. Just want to see this. Interesting. So there's this video that I did that I recommend once my Excel chills out. Need a new computer. Patreon link below. If you want to help support this work, it would go towards a new computer at some point. But no pressure at all. The best way to support the work is to be a participant. If you message me privately on Instagram, I will send you a link to our private Discord. We have private calls every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. You can speak with me on an open call about anything that you would like to speak about. And they last for hours, and they can be on anything. That's the best way to support the work, is to just join the community. But I only give out that link to people who message me on Instagram privately, because every time I post it here, we get a bunch of people who are not ready to think about this stuff in the Discord, and you need people who are open and questioning and not set in their ways to such a degree that they are angry when someone challenges their ideas. So I don't post the link on here. I wait for people to message me privately on Instagram. You can message my my personal Instagram message, or you can message me on my Theory of Every0ne. But this is the video that I recommend. It's just... Thank you, Chris. Dang, look at that. That's pretty cool. Not this one. This is just mine. But if you go here, whoa. It's like some Inception stuff's going on. We're so close to 400 subscribers. So close. This video right here, the Observerse and Space-Time, I highly recommend watching this. I discuss kind of gravity in it. You have a mustache and you take a drink? It's in a bit. Gosh, even that intro has come a long way. A little bit. And so I discussed this binary triality
aspect of observation.
And I get into the Observerse. I think it's the Observerse. I think it's what Eric Weinstein is seeing. I'm not sure. If it's not, then I will correct the